fascinating that at the end of empires, they get really concerned with gender and hermaphrodites and those things. Like that's universal?
Well, it certainly happens at the end of the Greek and Roman empires.
Lately, an interesting phenomenon has been floating around, and that is the similarities between the fall of Rome and the state of America today. America is a vast influential power in the modern age. However, its divisive politics and size are similar to those of another vast influential power, ancient Rome. After the ancient Roman kings were cast aside, the Romans created a constitutional republic influenced by the Greek nation states. This constitutional republic, known as the Roman Republic, would later inspire other revolutions and the creation of other constitutional republics, such as the United States of America. Now, would it be absolutely crazy for me to say that the United States might be following a similar path to that of the Roman Republic?
We want to talk more about the ongoing threat to democracy posed by the former president.
Tonight, a deafening silence from the president's Twitter account in his waning days as commander-in-chief.
Fire. Protesters leaving an auto parts store in flames. Others seen looting a local Target.
Now, before we explore this dangerous path, it's important to understand a little bit of history. So kids, grab your popcorn. It's time for a history lesson. For those of you who aren't interested in that, you can skip ahead to the dangerous path. Before we even get into the fall, let's look at the history of the Roman Republic. So the fall centers around Julius Caesar in a historical tale made popular by none other than the creator of Romeo and Juliet. In that tale, before Julius Caesar was assassinated, he was given great military power. When the wars with the Gauls came to an end, he refused to let go of that power. Instead of giving up his power, Caesar marched into Rome with the army and took over as dictator. Those in the Senate were, of course, upset about this change in government, but unfortunately, even after his assassination, the Republic was not restored. After Caesar's assassination, his nephew and his heir, Gaius Octavius, divided up the Roman Republic between himself and two others, Mark Antony and Marcus Lepidus. These three hunted down his uncle's assassins and fought an epic civil war. The Roman Empire did not truly begin until Octavius took his place as Augustus Caesar, the first emperor of Rome, in 31 BCE. Now that you understand how the Roman Empire came to be, let's get into the rise and the fall of the Roman Empire. Now Augustus Caesar is the emperor of Rome, and despite the civil wars that preceded his ascendance, he's made reforms and initiated building projects that secured over 200 years of peace for the Roman Empire. Unfortunately, his heir, Tiberius, was the first of a series of emperors who could not maintain Augustus' vision for Rome. However, the Roman Empire lasted for several centuries. In that time, the Roman Empire expanded as far north as Britain and as far east as Turkey. The Roman Empire was officially split into the Eastern and Western Roman Empires, but there were frequent civil wars and power struggles that divided it even further. Later on, Odoacer, a king of Germanic descent, conquered the Western Roman Empire. The Eastern Roman Empire, also known as the Byzantine Empire, lived on for another 1,000 years. However, it too was plagued by war, and it was slowly chipped away by surrounding empires until Constantinople, later named Istanbul, was finally taken over by the Ottoman Empire in 1453 CE. What exactly caused this fall? Historians disagree on the exact causes of the fall of ancient Rome. However, there appear to be 5 main groups of problems that impacted the development and the decline of the Roman Empire: religion, size, division, corruption, and economic instability. Back during the days of the Roman Republic, the state religion was polytheism, meaning they worshipped a pantheon of gods and goddesses instead of just one. The Roman Empire was still polytheistic, but each emperor claimed to have a special relationship with one particular deity who influenced events in their favor. Things took a bit of a turn, however, when Constantine claimed a special relationship with none other than Jesus Christ. And he made Christianity a monotheistic faith, the state religion, instead of Roman polytheism. Eventually, all pagan worship was outlawed. Religion was part of the later division between the Eastern and the Western Roman empires. The Great Schism was a separation of the Eastern Orthodox Church from the Roman Catholic Church. It was only part of the problem though. The Roman Empire had grown way too large to be efficiently managed by one centralized government, so it was split up between 2 or 3 individuals on numerous occasions. Other issues that may have led to Rome's fall include government corruption and economic instability. Not only were government officials considered corrupted, but there was also the issue of hiring mercenary armies to defend the empire from invasion by surrounding Germanic tribes. The conqueror Odoacer was himself part of the Roman military before seizing power and overthrowing Rome's final emperor. The economic instability only made the overthrow easier because the lower class workers were competing with slave labor, keeping wages low and unemployment high. This was especially problematic considering the high inflation of the Roman currency, so not only were the wages kept low, but the wages had less buying power as time went on. Now, if you haven't noticed any similarities between ancient Rome and the United States already, I'm going to break them down for you. Keeping in mind the 5 reasons for the downfall of Rome: religion, size, division, government corruption, and economic instability, it is concerning to see the parallels between Rome in its decline and the current political environment in the United States. Religion, particularly Christianity, seems to dominate American politics, even though officially Christianity is not the state religion. Certain hot topics like LGBTQ rights and the legality of abortion are especially influenced by Christian morals and teachings. This has led to a pronounced division between Christians and non-Christians. The division isn't as simple as religion though. There are numerous other divisions in American society based on race, gender, sexuality, socioeconomic status, and especially political parties. When you look at the so-called cancel culture, which tends to contradict free speech, it shows that being pro-rights has now become anti-everything else.
You cancel J.K. Rowling. My God, J.K. Rowling wrote all the Harry Potter books by herself. She sold so many books, the Bible worries about her. And they canceled her because she said in an interview, and it's not exactly what she said, but effectually, she said gender was a fact. And then the trans community got mad. They started calling her a TERF. I didn't even know what the was, but I know that
the obsession with gender was also seen towards the end of Roman Empire. Just like United States today, people in Roman Empire were questioning how gender should be defined in society. If you look at cultures all over the world, especially in places like Mexico and some countries in Europe, you don't see this anti-everything else pattern form. It's simply supporting pro-rights without shutting everyone else down. Though the separation isn't clear-cut like the borders between the Western and Eastern Roman empires, the United States is currently divided into 2 sides who compete to their own detriment, refusing to work together to survive. When one political party wins, they create programs and push for changes that the other party will simply undo at the next opportunity. Not only is the entire country divided into 2 halves, but both halves struggle with corruption. Both sides include individuals involved with human trafficking and other unscrupulous actions, and nobody really expects any politician to be without some kind of moral stain. This has led to a dismissal of that corruption and an acceptance that this is just how things are. On top of that, there's an underlying control given to the major social media corporations who continuously shut down free speech of any form to push down their own political agenda. Then you see open rebellion and attempted revolution, which isn't different from the rebellions of the Goths during the decline of the Roman Empire. One last thing is if we look at the size. If you were to trace the map of the Roman Empire at its broadest on top of the map of the United States, you would see that the US is the same size, if not larger. If size was a problem for the Romans, what does that mean for the United States? How would the government maintain control if someone tried to start a revolution? The US has already been divided in half once and plunged into civil war. With the increasing unstable economy, high inflation, and divisive political arena fueled by the violent rebellions of extremists on either side, we may in our lifetimes see that division turn into civil war and eventually the fall of the United States.
We the people are done crying, are done screaming, are done period. We want liberty. We want justice. The people shouldn't have to hold the state accountable. The state should just be accountable.
I've always been very curious about this topic and just overall been very enamored by this idea that ancient Rome is similar to the path of the United States today. I first heard about it in a podcast that I will not mention, but excuse me for any mispronunciations, and if I got anything wrong, please let me know in the comments. That's it.